Yo, what is up guys? Today, we'll be discussing 5 things I love about my year 2000 Mitsubishi Galant VR-4. I've owned this car for well over a year now, but I barely took it out of the garage until about 2 months ago. I started working on the Integra, if you know, you know. That then led to the Galant becoming the daily driver. And as a result of this, I've been able to get to know the car a little more intimately. I've discovered its quirks, a few things I don't love about it so much, which I will make a video on if you guys want me to. But ultimately, it's cemented what I fell in love with about the 8th generation Mitsubishi Galant VR-4. So let's get to it. Little Ashan, as a young buck, didn't give a darn toot about the driveline configuration or handling characteristics of any car out there. He was more concerned about getting home and applying tribal decals to every car in his Midnight Club 3 garage. In short, when I was a kid, I cared more about how a car looked as opposed to what was on its spec sheet, which is fair. I mean, I was 10 years old. Boy, did the VR-4 look good to me. My tastes have without a doubt shifted and evolved drastically since that time, but one thing has remained constant. The 8th generation VR-4 looks as good to me now as it did back then 15 years ago. What really caught my attention at first was the nose, that aggressive, mean, stink-eye look. Legnum's Gallants, 8th generation, they both had this and I fell in love. It was so unique and I didn't really see it too much on other cars. And I love the clean, aggressive silhouette of the Galant. It looks like it's sitting back on its haunches, ready to launch itself into whatever you want to throw it at. Initially, I was into Legnums. I was all about that wagon life. I was very much looking for a wagon as my first car. But there's no doubt my taste in VR-4s have now shifted towards the sedan variant. Probably helps that I own one. On to the next item, power delivery. The 8th generation VR-4 platform has a 2.5 litre engine, which is relatively small for a V6, but it's still a V6. It's slightly torquier and slightly smoother when climbing through the rev range compared to an inline 4, for example. It's got 2 little booby turbos under the hood, which take almost no time to get up to speed and boogie. There is just so much usable power to this platform. What I love about the VR-4's power delivery is that it's so usable. It's all right there at your toe tip. You press the accelerator and you're off. You don't need to downshift 20 times and limit a bash just to hit your power band. Now, there's no denying, this thing isn't making ridiculous dyno figures or anything like that. It's quite mild relative to especially the modern car market. But that being said, I come from a 1998 Honda Integra with a 1.8 litre NA 4-cylinder engine in it. So this thing to me is fast, and the way it delivers power is incredible and smooth and so satisfying. I've driven this car a little bit by now, and as a result of that, I'm definitely used to the power that it offers up. But every time I put my foot down, it never fails to put a smile on my face.
Oh my god! Holy fuck. Fucking love this thing.
Point number 3, the sound. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the typical V6 noise. The standard examples have a lot of trumpet to their tone, and I really am not a fan of that. I can gladly say that this is not the case with the 8th generation VR-4. seems to have a much smoother note to it, probably because it's a smaller motor. I'm not entirely sure why. If you know, please feel free to drop a comment. Even at idle, this thing sounds mean. It's not as loud as the Integra, but it's much deeper and much more refined. It's safe to say the Mitsubishi Galant VR-4 sounds just as mean as it looks. Oh, and I installed a GFB adjustable blow-off valve, which is currently set to VTi-R.
Oh my god, that's highway patrol.
Look, it's obnoxious, cut me some slack. It's my first turbo car, and I love being reminded of that every time I let off the throttle. I've still got to adjust the spring so that it doesn't vent as easily as it did in the video that I posted regarding the installation. Go watch that, wherever it is. The thing sounds like a beast. It has got the right engine tone. It makes all the right turbo noises. You can hear it spool up on a cool day, and that's with the stock airbox. And then of course you've got the blow-off valve noises, which just sound amazing. All right, number 4, uniqueness. A lot of people around these parts do not know what the Mitsubishi Galant VR-4 is. And if they do, usually they're thinking of the 6th generation VR-4. To my knowledge, the 8th generation VR-4 had no domestic allocations outside of the Japanese market. There were a few places that received a small number through Rally Art, but it wasn't approved by Mitsubishi for these markets in mass. These weren't, and still aren't, a popular pick when it comes to the old JDM legends. I'll make another video in the future speculating why that is the case. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, let me know. It feels pretty damn great to drive around in something you barely see on the roads these days. And to add to it, it's only getting rarer and rarer. But again, it's not like an Evo or a Silvia or a Skyline or a Supra, all of which are really cool cars, but people know about them, you know? They are very, very highly sought after. There are obviously reasons for that. They are incredible cars, but in the case of the Galant, no one knows about it. It makes the ownership experience that much more special. People look at it and they kind of see a Mitsubishi Magna, and then suddenly they're shocked to find out it's running an all-wheel drive twin-turbo setup. So there's no denying that definitely adds an extra layer to the ownership experience of the Mitsubishi Galant VR-4. For me anyway. Finally, the community. Okay, so we've established that the 8th generation VR-4 is unique, it's not well known, and it's kind of shrouded in mystery. A lot of these cars were brought into Australia during the first decade and a half of this millennium. As a result of this, you've got a relatively tiny owners community full of slightly older people, not saturated by teenagers looking to pick fights or defend their egos. If you post a question on either one of the forums or one of the Facebook groups, there is a good chance that you won't be met with someone cussing you out for daring to ask for some advice. Usually you'd get some pretty solid advice, or at least you'd have a bunch of nice people speculating in the comments about what the issue could be. I love that. I love that this community is tight-knit, it's bonded together. The VR-4 platform is kind of like our little secret, and everyone's really passionate about it, and that is huge. What highlights it for me even more is the fact that I'm also part of quite a few Integra groups, because I own one. And there is a very distinct difference between the global Integra community and the global VR-4 community. It's tighter, there's more respect, and it's just a healthier place in general. And to me, that adds to the ownership experience, especially because when I go to work on something like the Galant, I rely heavily on the community. I don't have the mechanical prowess or intuition that some other people would have. So there you have it. The community definitely is something I love about owning a Galant VR-4. Before I finish, I'm gonna throw in a bit of a bonus one. Personally, it doesn't add a lot to my experience, which is why this isn't one of the top 5, but it's so glaringly obvious, and I feel like it's something that will resonate with most VR4 owners out there. I personally am still at that stage in my life where I want every bump in the road to break my back and render me immobile for the sake of driver feel. I also love seats that are unreasonably tight so that I feel firmly held in place during intense cornering. The thing is, my Galant VR4 has neither of these attributes. This makes it a very comfortable car to cruise in. Even though it's on fairly stiff coilovers, this thing just glides over the road, and the seats are kind of like lazy boys. You could sit in them for so long without experiencing any form of back pain. And there you have it, guys. 5 things I love about my Mitsubishi Galant VR4, plus a bonus for you guys. Every time I drive my Galant, it puts a smile on my face. I'm so glad I pulled the trigger and bought this thing, and today I've listed a few reasons why. I want to know what you guys love about your VR4s, so drop a comment, let me know what you think of your cars and what you enjoy about yours in particular. Also, let me know what other Galant content you guys want to see, and I'll endeavor to make some videos about it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you on the next one.
You say you got them guns, but I've never seen you bang. You say